John Brain reporting there, and he joins us now from Washington, D.C. for more. John.
Yeah, it's a very rainy Washington, D.C. We heard so many stories there in Virginia, didn't we? Here's another story. I'm joined by Dr. Melissa Clarke, who lives here in D.C. and has just made an extraordinary discovery that you yourself are also descended from slaves. How did you find that out? It's so late on.
Yes, well, we always knew in my family that we were related to a prominent citizen of Wilmington, North Carolina named Henry Taylor. And we knew that he was the son of a white man and the enslaved woman who he owned, but we never knew the name of that enslaved woman because for African Americans, it's very difficult to actually get the names of the enslaved people. Prior to emancipation in 1865, those people were only listed as numbers on the census. And so I was able to find the name of this woman who was his mother, who researchers have been trying for a long time to find and were not able to.
And how does it change your perceptions, knowing that you are descended from a slave?
It's humbling. It makes me realize my family got a head start because of this man, Henry Taylor. His father freed him because he was his son, and he was allowed to go and be he became a prosperous landowner and shipbuilder, was able to send all his kids to college, and that's benefited all the generations that have come after him. But I know that for most African Americans, that's not our story. And it's humbling for me to know that I'm descended from slaves because I recognize the resilience that it's taken for us to be able to survive and prosper in this country, despite the initial insults of slavery and all the things that have come thereafter.
And as you say, it's not a typical story, and slavery is an insult for so many people. And it seems to have left a fairly toxic legacy, as I was saying in that report.
Yes.
How can this country resolve that racial problem?
Yes. Well, racism is systemic. So a lot of people think, well, I'm not racist, but it's the understanding that racism is sort of baked into the institutions in this country, and that solutions to repair and restore what's been taken from generations of black people in this country has to be systemic. I really believe that reparations are important because of the financial wealth gap, the educational gap. Even our biology itself has been affected by the results of generations of trauma. And so I think things like free education for African Americans, if you can prove that you're a descendant of slaves, low-cost bank loans, low-cost small business loans, for example, are ways, free secondary and post-secondary education, I think are ways that this country can start to address these injustices that have been done over centuries.
Is there a risk that would cause resentment from some sections of the white community, for example?
Well, honestly, I think that would be unfortunate if it did. I think education about the effects should help that and mitigate it. But frankly, based upon the insults that my ancestors have had to deal with, a little bit of resentment from the white community is something that I'm willing to accept. But I really believe in building bridges, and education should help that.
There's a big shopping list of demands there that you've put forward, but do you think there's any chance of that happening at all under this current administration?
You know, no, not under this current administration, but I don't believe this current administration reflects where we're going in this country. I believe this country wants to heal the divides that are here, and I think that's one way is to try to restore equity in this country. There's a famous picture of people trying to look over a fence, and each person is of a different height, and so therefore the boxes that they have to use to get up to the level of the fence are of different heights. So the people who are the most disadvantaged need the larger box.
The bigger help. Dr.
Yes,
Melissa Clarke, thank you very much indeed. Well, a fascinating story there. And there will be a weekend of commemorations for the anniversary of the start of slavery in the United States, which was then, of course, the British colonies.
Okay, John Brain, fascinating story there that you brought us from Washington. Thanks so much for that.